Howdy gamers, and thanks for noticing. I did get a haircut. But that's just the thing. I didn't want you to notice that I got a haircut. I hate change, and even more so, I hate attentive people. That's why I need to cause a distraction. So, I just need to talk about something really controversial. The only reason football players wear helmets is so they can't kiss each other on the lips during the game. Everyone already knows that. Talk about a 3D Sonic game. I'm pretty sure your neighbors have to be notified whenever you move in if you talked about a 3D Sonic game, so this should work. Sonic is perhaps everyone's fourth favorite blue anthropomorphic hedgehog, and he'd probably be even higher on the list, but Sega refuses to let us see his feet. But of course, that's not what I'm talking about today. Instead, I'm going to be talking about his first 3D game. No, not that one. That one doesn't count. That game's a spin-off. Okay, so is it his first real 3D game? Let's just say it is, and as Sonic's first 3D game, they kinda messed up. And by kind of, I mean made one of the worst games I've ever played. Now, it feels really good to be one of, if not the first person ever to be talking about a Sonic game I think is bad. But before I go any further, I should also clarify, I'm not a Sonic fan. My copy of Mania is still sealed, and I only bought it so that no one else could have it. I'm by no means the type of person to go to Hooters just because of a Sonic crossover event. But I would like to meet whoever was convinced to try out Hooters because Sonic was there. Although, maybe I would like to go to Hooters just so I could talk to the waitresses about how much I freaking hate this game. To be fair, this was Traveler's Tales' first Sonic game, and it probably didn't help that this was being developed alongside Sonic Xtreme, which, despite being cancelled, managed to have a longer Wikipedia page. Anyways, 3D Blast was supposed to be the swan song of the Genesis, but Sonic Team couldn't work on it at the time because they were busy working on the Nights and the Dreams, so instead, they got the guys who made Pugsy. To be fair, if I was trying to make a game for a dead system, I'd also want the Pugsy guys to do it. And it's not like Sega didn't help them out, they did a lot. They helped them out making the level, character, and game design along with the original concept. Sega also commissioned Traveler's Tales to port the game over to the Saturn in case Sonic Xtreme pulled a Sonic Xtreme and got cancelled. The Saturn version is technically better, but it's not too big of a difference. All it does is enhance the graphics and add a different soundtrack and special stages, but unfortunately for me, the Saturn version costs around $5.3 Netflix for the Wii streaming disc, so instead, I went with the Genesis version, and even if I had played the Saturn version, I don't think I would have liked it. Sure, the opening cutscene on the Genesis version gives you glaucoma, and I'm pretty sure Dr. Robotnik sold his sword to the devil in this version, but other than that, my complaints would be the same across both versions. For starters, I hate the Flickies more than most war criminals, although if you've had a good life up until me talking about Sonic 3D Blast, you probably don't know what those are, so I should first talk about the lore of this game. As it was foretold in the Bible, Sonic 3D Blast has Sonic, Tails, and Idris Elba traveling to Flicky Island to stop Robotnik from getting all 7 Chaos Emeralds and free the Flickies who are trapped inside of animatronics. This means each level has you freeing 5 Flickies and then bringing them to a ring. As previously stated though, I don't like the Flickies for multiple reasons, which is kind of a problem because they're what this game is built around. It would be like playing Mario Teaches Typing if you hated consonants.
Where the frick are the vowels?
Also, it's not like I hate the Flickies for no reason. I have a whole sticky note full of reasons. First off, the fact that Flickies can get hit and then freaking run away makes me feel so many different emotions with none of them being happiness. All this does is artificially lengthen the game. It doesn't make it harder in the slightest, it's just annoying to have to backtrack to go get them. Especially since they all run away at once, meaning by the time you go get one of them, the others will have traveled further away. And if they dare to go off screen, it can be really freaking hard just to find where they went off to. It's not fun, it's not necessary, and unfortunately, isn't even my biggest complaint about these sins against humanity. The Flickies can also just be plain hard to find. I'm not implying that this is the case, but it does feel like the maps were first made, and then the Flickies were just put in them in random hiding spots. This leads to situations where you'll make it all the way through the level, only to realize you're missing some Flickies and have to backtrack trying to find the single one you're missing. As you might have guessed, this can be really frustrating, especially since it could have been fixed so easily. As someone who's never designed a game before and has no idea all the effort that goes into making it, what if the rings actually led you to the Flickies in a nondescript manner so you felt like the game isn't guiding you right to them, but you know, it kind of is. And it's not like this is some wholly original idea made by yours truly. Mario games do this with coins. Heck, even Sonic Art did this a lot of the time with the coins you need to collect to unlock new characters. Worst case scenario, I even would have been fine with the Luigi's Mansion Boo Finder type thing where it flashes based on how close you're getting, although the ring subtly leading the player definitely would have been the more elegant solution. There definitely is at least one thing 3D Blast could have taken away from Luigi's Mansion though, and that's dead babies. I mean, just how much fun it was to actually suck up the ghosts. In Luigi's Mansion for the GameCube, pretty much all you do in that game is suck up ghosts. There are some switch-ups to keep things from getting stale, but for the most part, that's all you do. Miraculously, however, the game is still fun throughout. You get excited whenever you walk into a room and find a new ghost. Not only could Sonic 3D Blast have used the switch-ups in gameplay to keep things from getting stale, but they also should have made it fun to actually get the Flickies. Every single one you just free by jumping on the enemy, and that's it. To the game's credit, there is this really cool pufferfish enemy where you have to wait until it's deflated and then jump on it, but that's it. In Luigi's Mansion, every single main ghost enemy is distinct, but there are so many enemy repeats in 3D Blasts. And yeah, some do look different, but you still beat them the exact same way with the exception of the caterpillar and pufferfish, so even though they do look distinct, which I will give the game credit for sometimes making a themed enemy for the stage, they are still all being the same and even repeat enemy skins anyways. Sure, Luigi's Mansion did also have some repeat ghosts in less important areas, but even then, those are actually fun to suck up. It was satisfying trying to keep a constant combo of sorts going, unlike here where you just press A. It's not even satisfying to collect them. It plays the weakest 1-second sound effect, so it's not really rewarding to get them at all. When you collect a star in a Mario game, well, you collect a star in a Mario game. You feel special. Obviously, it couldn't do a giant fanfare for each Flicky you collect. That would just be annoying. But even in 3D World, there's an animation for the star being collected, a pleasing sound effect, and even Mario sounds happy to have collected something. Also, I slightly touched on it earlier when I said there weren't any switch-ups in gameplay, but I feel like I should emphasize how repetitive this makes the game feel. Even if the developers really didn't want to change up the enemies, they could have at least changed how you collected the Flickies. The final level sort of kind of did this by putting them in cylinders, but it didn't change up the gameplay surrounding collecting the Flickies, so I don't really count that. Don't worry though, I'm done complaining about the fictional animals. I'll even be nice and say that I appreciate that you can checkpoint them when you do reach the end of a level and haven't collected all of them. If you spin on a ring, all the Flickies you've collected thus far will be stored there, and then you don't have to worry about them flying away when you get hit. Plus, after you get all the Flickies and spin on the ring, it acts as a save point for if you die, which is appreciated since I'd rather not have to replay sections of 3D Blast. However, they won't help you if you get a game over, considering that if you lose all your lives, you have to restart the game from the beginning. Personally, I'd love to talk more about game overs in depth someday, but for now, just say it with me. Game overs that make you restart the entire game are just artificially increasing the length and difficulty of said game, and at most should be optional. Fortunately, you probably won't even have to worry about that since the game is pretty easy. The only time when the game is actually difficult is during the platforming bits, but that's not because it's a well-designed challenge, it's just a result of the platforming in this game being terrible. So, you know Mario Galaxy, right? One of the best games of all time. Pretty sure it won a couple of Emmys too. So, just imagine the platforming in that game, but bad. You see, the name of this game is actually a huge lie. I know you might think your favorite blue hedgehog would never lie to you. After all, he's best friends with everyone's fat orange cat. Actually, make that second fat orange cat, but it's true. The name Sonic 3D Blast is a lie. Not only am I not having a blast while playing, it's not even 3D. To be less vague for dramatic build-up, it's isometric 3D, meaning it's not real 3D and it's just 2D made to look 3D, like the sprites from the Donkey Kong Country games. They're 3D models converted into a 2D sprite to give off the illusion. The reason I bring this all up is because, well, platforming in isometric 3D games doesn't really work. Especially in Sonic 3D Blast. It's unbearably hard to tell how high Sonic is off the ground, and add to that some occasionally really bad fixed camera angles causing messed up depth perception, and you have why it takes me so many times to make such a simple jump. It's just so hard to tell how close or far away something is from you, and also Sonic Shadow is just sort of weird in the Genesis version. It's just not very distinct, adding to the problem. I get that Sonic is a platformer, but this game might have been better off without it. Don't get me wrong, the game still would have been terrible, but it would be a lot like Life Without Shrimp, where sure it's still miserable, but just slightly better. The reason why I say still miserable, because first off there's the pixelated animals I ranted about for multiple minutes, but also the level design in this game is just not appealing to me. Like the floor in every level of this game is just hideous. Don't get me wrong, I'm a huge Plaid fan, but I prefer it on my Xbox, not the ground. It's just very uninteresting visually, and I don't think I've ever disliked a flooring texture in a video game before, but here we are. It's especially bad because it never changes, not just from level to level, but also in the level. Maybe like transitioning from a grass floor to a dirt floor to a rocky floor, or really anything like that throughout a level, could have been a great way to stop players from getting lost, because everywhere wouldn't have looked the same. A lot of levels in this game, for reasons more than just the plaid floor, look the same throughout, which is excusable in a 2D game, but not here because you're supposed to be exploring. There are no interesting landmarks to keep you from getting lost in the more open levels, and also it makes it so I was never compelled to explore. I don't want to take my time to find Knuckles because 1, he really scares me in this game, but 2, because everywhere looks the same, so it's not fun to do so. On top of that, as a result of a lot of places looking the same, it can be really easy to fall back down to parts of the level you've already cleared and just have no idea that you've done so, which shouldn't be the case. One thing I will give the game credit for at least is the fact that every zone at least looks different. They all have their own unique theme to make them stand out from each other. Even the plaid changes color from stage to stage. These zones also do a good job at introducing new ideas. Like Zone 2 introduces a thing that allows Sonic to spin around and destroy obstacles and enemies, as well as these weird spiky things. And Zone 5 introduces whatever this is supposed to be in breakable blocks. It's by no means to the same level as Super Mario 3D World, where it often changes how you play and where the level is built around the idea, but I appreciate it. Except for Zone 3, which introduces these weird springs that I'm pretty sure are actually broken. Nevertheless, I'd rather continue talking about some of the good things about this game. For starters, Sonic has an idle animation, which sure he had in every other Sonic game before this, but I don't really have many positives, so please just let me have this. Sonic also controls well in this game, which once again is the bare minimum, but I'll take it. I know some people don't like the D-pad controls on the Genesis version, but I didn't mind, and frankly I'm just grateful that the game isn't painful to play. In fact, you wouldn't know it from how I've been talking about this game, but there's even a section of the game I like. The boss fights. They definitely are way too easy except for the final one, and I'm a bit disappointed how they're basically all beaten by jumping on the glass, but the game still mixes it up in how they attack the boss fight arena and how you reach the glass. I said earlier how it would have been nice if the developers changed up the gameplay every so often, and this was a good example of how it could have been done to make the game more fun. Finally, the music in this game is just amazing. There's even 2 separate versions of it, one for the Genesis and one for the Saturn. Unfortunately, it's not something I'd ever listen to outside the game because of the flashbacks it gives me, but other than that, it sounds great. Regrettably, that's all the good things about the game I had to say for now, so I'm going back to nitpicking things like how fast the rings disappear. It's too fast and it makes me sad. Sometimes they'll just disappear instantly, which maybe this is how it worked in other Sonic games, but I still don't like it. At least one ring shouldn't vaporize instantly. It might seem like not too big of a problem, which is sort of right, but since you need the rings for the bonus levels, it's kind of frustrating. The bonus levels differ between what version you play, And I've heard people complain about the Genesis version, but I feel like there are better things to complain about, and personally I liked it. It's sort of like an endless runner where you're collecting rings and you need to collect a certain amount before a threshold in order to continue. If you make it to the end, you get a Chaos Emerald, and it's a lot more fun than the rest of the game. The bonus stages even change themes sometimes, which is cool. My only complaint is that Tails and Knuckles will take more money than they need to, and by more I mean all of it. Even if you don't have enough to enter the bonus stage, they'll just straight up rob you of all your rings. If you've ever wanted to play a Sonic game where Sonic isn't fast and it's a 4-hour-long escort mission with terrible level design disguised as a 3D platformer collectathon, do I have the game for you? However, I should mention that there are actually people who like this game, and while I do have a 15-minute long rant to say to them, everything I have to say about this game is entirely subjective. But still, to give this game a score of 100, I'd give it a 34 out of 100. And to give it an award, I'd give it the Worst Sonic Game award. There might be worse Sonic games out there. I've never played the one on PC where Sonic gets his teaching license, or the one on mobile phones where he goes bowling, so this definitely is a series I'd like to learn more about. Just not on the internet. It makes me wish there's a place I could go in person to talk to other Sonic fans. Actually, having said that out loud, I just realized something. Earlier I talked about how back in 2017 Sonic did a collaboration with Hooters. I bet if I go to my local Hooters, there will be a bunch of people that want to talk to me about Sonic.
They don't care about Sonic here, only boobs and football.